Hello, welcome to the 14th episode of the strategy game Warring Factions. Now, in this episode, I'm going to rattle on a little bit for half an hour about just general upkeep things in the game that I need to do. So I'll try and pay attention to what I'm actually doing instead of wandering off. I have periodically written myself notes to remind myself when I'm narrating what to say. But now I'm just investigating what's happened to my anti-intelligence fleet. So in order to attack this guy, I need to declare war on him. So I find which empire and faction he's in, and then I can send him a message. But I'm just checking to see if I've already got him in my contact list. But the reason I don't is because my empire hasn't authoritatively declared war on them again since I have joined. So I have to independently declare war on him so my ships will attack. And I want to give him a reasonable excuse because I'm talking to another human being here. So, quite simply, this is a SHTF simulator, so that's all I need to say. And then I'll chase his fleets out. I wanted to show here that I believed the targeting range for a fleet-to-fleet combat is something like 500,000 kilometers. But then I had reason to suspect that it's 5 million kilometers while I was investigating it. But I'll show you through it. And this is the result of the battle. Like, I think my ship wasn't hitting him, or I was just, he had armor, or I was getting bad damage, but it seemed to take a few hits. It was being extremely evasive. And anyway, you can see they would need 2,413 to complete a round of combat with that one ship. So that would be a decoy number for that fleet against that fleet. If a fleet doesn't have a command frigate, you can send probes at it, really cheap ones, just to soak up fire, and then have another huge fleet come in right behind it, and it will do what you would expect it would. But it's quite a cheap shot, and it's expensive, so people usually don't have a few thousand, 50,000 or 100,000 probes lying around to just throw into the fire, so it's a dream. But things would get out of hand if we didn't have limits on our ships. Now I want to use this script, the mission queue script, and I've tried all the ways to get it to work to make sure that when I ask about it, I've tried all the ways that I can intelligently do so. And I don't think I recorded a lot of this, but I messed around with it. So anyway, as my AI fleet comes closer, I'm going to show you the movement of the ships inside that little 3D star map, and the fact that you can actually watch it happen in real time. And you could even display it as data in a setting, and then plug that into an external simulator of the 3D map with different shapes if you were savvy with doing stuff like that. But I didn't get too hard out into doing stuff like that. This time I'm chilling out. So the reading instructions. Can you read instructions? And if the answer is yes, then go along this path in the flowchart and read the instructions like 50 times or something, so that you're in the headspace of the person that wrote them, if you can't understand anything else. Be aware that when I'm narrating this, I'm watching it in like 540p, so I can't actually really read a lot of the text. If I want to record with the software like that, I have to save it without audio and then re-edit it, and then just to get the right timing, because if I can't play it in high resolution and keep the right timing to the audio, not well. It's strange. So this is why I use this program, Windows Media Player, because it has a good audio timing bitrate counter in it, which is a problem I've encountered with other software and trying to record audio or have anything to do with external audio, because it's playing that back in like 1080p and then it desyncs the audio. So you see here I'm messing around with all the different instructions back and forth, showing you that you've got to figure things out. You must struggle. And then when you get it right, you'll know, because it's easy. As I've said before, that people that find things easy do it because they've failed more times than you've tried it. Failed at it. Yep, keeping good contact with everybody in your faction's quite important, because there's not many people that play, and like all you have to do is really just say hi and give me stuff and I'll try it out, and that'll happen. No one's going to harass you. But I think the first person I ever spoke to was a person who had an empire called Eclipse, and I berated him about the game to figure out what it was about, and then he's like, yep, I'm out. And then I talked to Mike Eastham, who stopped playing because he retired, and I berated him. And then I've also talked to another blue player. But yeah, so that's how I learned to play the game. Every time someone would listen to me, I would interrogate them for information. So, because I found it interesting, and it was a great way to take my mind off things I didn't want to have to deal with in real life, which was justifiable, and this still is to this day. So it's all good. If you see the logistics map, I'm using the multi-fleet commander, pointing out very important parts of information, parts that you should be reading if you're using it, because a lot of people are interested in these particular scripts, so I might have to do another whole group of videos specifying each script and going through the whole process for each one in a much more formal way, and then more people will be able to play the game. Right, boom, I just took out the red probe. It's good shooting. And that was in live updates from the Java map. I think it's a V2 Java map. I didn't really like the other ones, but that's just me. I grew up with a Nintendo, so I had high expectations for a 3D Star map. And now it's time for some more maths. So here's my calculation about the distance that they engaged from, because I recorded it. So that's, if they're engaging at 500,000, and then it's 125 units of distance in the star map and the global coordinates they move. But that doesn't match up with the actual distance to the target that it was headed at, the location the ship got destroyed. So it must be 5 million. And I'll see if that adds up. $12.50. So if you times $12.50 by 4,000, which I don't think I do, you should get something like 2 million and 3 million or something. That means that way is correct. And I've added in the script from that queuing script, and I'm hoping it will engage, because it's in a step now and it might auto kick into step 2, but after all that occurs it just stops. So whatever I did hasn't worked to get the script working. And by the way, already Saladin has already said he's going to have a look at it, but I said it's no rush, because once you get the script working I'm going to possibly exploit it. So I don't want to get too tempted and do stuff to really hack people off. So I'm going to try and make some rules where anybody who uses it is only allowed to use it for transports, just transport ships, and not even the military ships that escort them. And not like disguising military fleets as transport fleets, because that's bullshit. Just unarmed transports are the only fleets that would be fair to start using the script and not break the game, because it would destroy the round pretty quickly if people started spamming, automated fleet patrols. And then it would put a huge strain on the server as well. So we've got to think about it. And so when you do make them, say, limit them to like a few trips, just because of the novelty of being able to use it. And we'll ask Dunscap how it's handling the load of all the extra tadpoles. And yeah. So I'm just exploring the map, the galaxies with the map now. This is a great way to find wormholes, because they still appear in this map if you haven't explored them. But that's good, because otherwise it's always left up to a couple of people to do all the exploring. But this way at least people can share in the exploring and get the game going at the start. Because they're like probably tears in the fabric of time, going back into the future and to the past again, so they probably show up on all the radars. Just call it that. Calling bugs bonuses. so you don't have to do the work to fix it. Yeah, checking these fleet scripts again. I started adding heaps of others, and I encountered one strange bug where I got a red button with nothing on it, and another one that's supposed to add direction to stuff, but I don't think it works properly. There's that red one come up right as I was thinking about it. So that vanished. So I added this to the Empire forum, asking for help with the buttons. See, I'm quite persistent. But there's always a point where you're like, yeah. Yeah. So if we get resources going up to the front with a script like that, and everything's good, then everyone will be like, let's use them on probes, and let's use them on surveyors. And then it'll be like, right, so this is where this is headed. And as long as it doesn't break the game at each stage, it's fine. But if everyone starts abusing it, you will pay the consequences, because it's just a logical outcome of it. No one's telling you off. Auto-exploring the solar system isn't really a big deal when you've got 40,000 solar systems to explore or something, and you need to do it regularly to find planets that have people hiding on them. So it would just be so great to have that function used as an okay function. Because, I mean, look at this. Look at Thunderdome. That's pretty abusive. But they're loving it. And there goes the corruption. I got hit with people from Shinzon. Thank you very much. He delivered a new load of population. So I do quite a bit of repetitive recording here, showing you how I fleet up my colonizers and all of my single individual colonies around it, and then send them back to the home world to pick up a full load each, which is like around the 450,000 mark. Then they all head back to their own colony and deliver them. Then they head back to the main colony, and then I calculate out how much 12.5% of my population is, and then leave that in the main colony, and then extract the rest divided into the 6 fleets. So that is the description of what happens on screen for the next little bit. And so I can point out other things, like I didn't bother naming the fleets anything because I'm clicking in an order where each one is highlighted after I finished moving it. So and they're temporary. So the moment I finished all this, I disband them. And then the ultimate outcome of this is that I actually double the density on my colonies that are building wealth, which is awesome, because then I get heaps more scientists. And this colony here gets to go through all the growing pains. I mean, I could have built more institutions before he put the people there, but that's not the point. That you build them up through the minimal amount required to get them there, and it builds that low wealth and the it's hard saying this. It builds the low wealth ingrains it in the colony, and especially with industry. I don't ever change my leadership style away from democracy. Like, people go the extra step and not give them entertainment facilities so that they're miserable, and give them communism, which increases their mining output. Oh, it does. But I just don't. That's like another step that I could do that I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that in my play style. And I'm like, but I can see the benefit in it. And those have worse names than what I call this one. But this is the BMM9K is what I call this design for this colony. Colony style. And this is how many I need to distribute out in groups of 6 to each colony. And the end of this video, I've included some audio because I thought about what people do when they're miserable, like what these people are like, would be like in this colony. And the answer is always music. I don't know if that's a nice place to live, because it's, well, also, like, speaking about this from a role-playing perspective, because, you know, it's a simulator for whatever, and that there's legalised narcotics police who make sure you don't litter, and you're not allowed condoms. That's pretty much like a weird type of dystopia and other things like that. So great for writing stories if you're into writing this game. Once you understand it, you could get a backstory for a huge book if you have the time. Now I'm going through each steps, manual steps of getting the people and settling the final numbers of it. And this is, yeah, all the manual stuff you need to see if you've never played this game before, to show you, like, you go this button, then this button, and then this button, and then this button, because it's so hard to learn if you've got so much to learn. It's just like a jump starter. And it's going to go on. I've planned for doing up to 30 and over videos, perhaps up to 40 videos. Like, I might just make it 42, because that's how many research projects you can do in the game. The last 12 will be about the most advanced parts of warring factions and concepts of strategy, rather than the actual playing of it. And I'll have like maps and simulations instead. But, you know, I've pretty much got to be good at managing my time. I'm pretty shit at that. Got a lot of stuff I try to do to keep busy. That's the bachelor lifestyle. I've got to justify my actions to Roger. I have to do that by keeping extremely busy. It only takes one night out on the town and it could all end. Yeah. Anyway, this is the Thunderdome getting this harsh treatment. I mean, I should just buy it, the resources in lump amount, but I want to get exactly the minimal amount possible I need, because even though he might get messaged every time I buy something, because every single bit of resource counts if you're being attacked. And yeah, I'm speaking from experience. like every last bit of gold you have and every last bit of oil, because those usually run out, and when you're building huge fleets with lots of armor and shielding. But anyway, these guys are going to get all that for us. So of Shinzon's population, 75% of them got to go to some type of paradise, and the others got left behind in Shitsville, I'll call it. What I remember playing that game when I was younger, Stick Wars. It was like a website, and it was the first Flash animation games in the 90s, and it was like it was really intense, and you had to run through their houses and like this place and attack people. And I was like, yeah, this is probably what this place is like if you're making a story about it, just helping out. I did play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, so yeah, and look, suddenly for some reason I'm like Norwegian. This is in Norwegian now, and I'm sure that's some type of bug, but who knows? Maybe Norway likes warring factions, and it's a funny joke, and it keeps coming back up every time you go into this page. I want to know what Yarnik means to Google, so when I type it in, lo and behold, it says Star Wars, the Wookiees, the Wikipedia. Like, yeah, I'm good on them for taking Star Wars over. Like, they can have it. I've got Warhammer 40k. If it gets women into like thinking that they should think about stuff they're doing, about other things, sometimes about thinking about things at all, what I'm meaning is like media that talks to people in a certain way. If it pisses them off, it's just as good as something they like, because it means there's something about it that they haven't worked on themselves and in a flaw. But that's just a spiritual observation about that. And that's just the art of being a neutral, annoying person. But I have views on both sides of that story. But anyway, 40k is pretty cool. I'm going to stick with that. Warring factions. If more people could learn how to play it. But right, going through this, I'm just checking and showing you how much growth I'm getting in the land because of my settings, having extremely high wealth, and also getting a lot of scientists from that. And as they get up to 400%, I'll get what do you call level 20 scientists. A lot of level 20 scientists, and the lower level ones, which don't really matter because they can train up just as well as the others. I'm making some ship designs of my own here, which I don't end up using because I'd rather use the same ones everyone else is using, for various reasons, including resource mining ratios, which is another ball game it's another kettle of fish. Put it like that. It's a kettle of fish to find out exactly how many mines of each type you need with the space you have. There is a sum. So you deal with all this madness because you keep happy by listening to music and doing things like music, I'm saying, at this very moment. Because this is how I deal with the drudgery of boring days, but just plod along and make my own projects and goals and hobbies. It's how I learned how to do electronics. And, dabbled in some electronic music. That's not mine. Have a good one.